You know that feeling when you ask an AI like ChatGPT a question and the answer it gives you feels, well, like magic? It's not. And today we're going to pull back the curtain and explain the powerful tech that makes it all possible. We'll look at the engine that changed everything and even the skills you need to become a master user. So let's dive in. So you type in a simple request, right? Something like, tell me a story about courage on Mars. And just seconds later, out comes this creative, coherent narrative. It's honestly kind of mind-blowing. It almost feels like you're talking to some kind of master storyteller. And that right there brings up the biggest question of all. How on earth does a machine, a bunch of circuits and code, actually create something that feels totally new? Where does that little spark of originality even come from? Well, here's the secret. It's not magic. What it really is pattern matching on an unbelievable scale. Imagine a storyteller who's read, well, basically everything. Every book, every article, every website ever published. They haven't memorized it all, but they've absorbed the patterns of how we use language. So when you ask for a story, they're not remembering one. They're just predicting the most likely next word, over and over and over again. And that, in a nutshell, is what a large language model does. This incredible ability we're seeing today is pretty much all thanks to a single revolutionary piece of technology. It's the engine that completely changed the game for AI, and it's called the transformer. So before 2017, AI models had a big problem. They had to read text one word at a time. It was super slow, and honestly, they'd often forget the beginning of a long sentence by the time they got to the end. But then in 2017, this groundbreaking research paper dropped with the best title ever, Attention is All You Need. It introduced the transformer, an architecture that could process entire sentences, even whole documents all at once. This was the moment everything changed. And the shift was, it was night and day. We went from that slow, one word at a time processing to being able to see everything all at once, what we call parallel processing. This didn't just make training faster and more scalable, which is huge. It also gave AI the ability to understand long-range connections and context like never before. It was a total game changer. So what's its secret? The transformer's superpower is a brilliant mechanism called self-attention. It lets the model look at a sentence like, the animal didn't cross the road because it was tired, and instantly know that the word it refers to the animal, not the road. It's constantly weighing how important every single word is to all the other words around it. That's how it gets such a rich understanding of context. Okay, so we've got the engine. Now let's talk about the controls. Because to really use these AIs well, you need to understand a few key terms. Think of this next part as the AI's user manual. First up is the token. See, AIs don't really see words and sentences the way we do. They see everything as tokens. The best way to think about them is like the Lego bricks of language. A whole word like apple might be one token, but a longer word like running might be two tokens, run and ing. It's the fundamental building block for how the AI processes what we say. Next up, and this one is super important, is the context window. This is basically the AI's short-term memory. It's the maximum number of tokens, those Lego bricks, that the model can look at in one go. If your conversation or your document gets longer than that window, the AI literally starts forgetting what you talked about at the beginning. It's a really key limitation to keep in mind. But that short-term memory, it's growing like crazy. Just look at this. Back in 2018, a typical model had a context window of just 512 tokens. That's barely a page of text. Today, we're seeing models that can handle over 100,000 tokens. That's an entire book. This huge expansion is what lets an AI analyze a massive report or remember your whole conversation history. Okay, now for a fun one, temperature. This is the setting you can actually control, and I like to think of it as the AI's creativity knob. It basically tells the AI how random and wild, or how safe and predictable it should be with its word choices. So if you turn the temperature down low, you get very focused, very predictable answers. This is perfect if you're summarizing a report or asking for facts. But if you crank that temperature knob way up, you get more creative, more diverse, and sometimes really unexpected, kind of weird responses. This is exactly what you want if you're brainstorming ideas or trying to write a poem. But all that creativity comes with a big risk, and it's a word you hear a lot. Hallucination. This is when an AI just makes stuff up. It generates text that is factually wrong or completely fabricated, but it says it with all the confidence in the world. And you have to remember why. It's a pattern matcher, not a fact checker. It's just trying to predict what sounds plausible, not what is actually true.
A hallucination could be anything from inventing a fake scientific study, complete with fake citations, to confidently stating that the Eiffel Tower is in Berlin. Or it might summarize an article you gave it, but add in a few events that never actually happened. It's a huge limitation you always have to be watching out for.
So, knowing all of this, how do we get the best possible results out of these AIs? Well, that brings us to our final section, the art of the prompt. This is where you go from just being a user to being a true collaborator with the machine. It all boils down to one simple rule, and it's the most important one. The quality of the output you get is directly tied to the quality of the input you give. Learning how to craft effective instructions is a real skill. It's called prompt engineering, and it's absolutely the key to unlocking what these tools can really do. And the difference it makes is just stark. Look at this. A vague prompt like explain black holes is going to get you a dense, super technical paragraph. But a really good prompt, one that assigns a role, specifies an audience, asks for an analogy, that gets you a response that's clear, engaging, and perfectly on target. You can usually break a great prompt down into 3 simple parts. Step 1, assign a role. Tell the AI who it should be. You are a marketing expert. Step 2, define the task. Tell it exactly what to do. Write 3 headlines. And step 3, set constraints. Give it the rules. Use a witty tone and make each one under 10 words. That structure is your recipe for getting exactly what you want. So when you put this all together, you start to see that modern AI isn't some magic black box we can't understand. It's a tool, an incredibly powerful one, for sure. But just like any tool, whether it's a hammer or a paintbrush, its real potential is only unlocked when it's guided by human skill and human intention. In the end, the AI is a master of patterns. It can generate almost anything based on the mountains of data it's learned from. But we're the ones who give it purpose. We provide the context, the creativity, the direction. So the real question isn't really how it all works anymore. The real question is, what will you choose to build with it?